Hey guys, J-Man here. Okay, let's talk about something different for once. Now, you guys know I love comic books and movies and comic book movies and horror movies and all the genre stuff, science fiction. I also really enjoy the old school serials, which if you've seen any of my breakfast cereal videos, you'll know that. Those are those chapter plays like Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers and the Crimson Death and Spy Smasher and all those cool movies. They're all like 12 to 15 chapters. There's superhero ones. Batman has a couple, right? Those are great. And there's I also really like the Pulp heroes. So I used to go to a Pulp show once a year in Toronto here at the library, the downtown library in Toronto. And it was a great show. It was like $3 to get in. They had a lot of cool stuff. I can't afford any of the original Pulp magazines. Those are all from the 30s. So they're pretty expensive, but a lot of great heroes came from those stories, like Conan and Kull, obviously Robert E. Howard, all of his amazing stuff. He's the best. But Pulp heroes are sort of kind of like the pre-superheroes. So they would include characters like Doc Savage, who have a statue up here. Guys like the Spider, who's a really cool character. Dynamite did a recent thing with him. There's Operator Number 5. There's G8. There's Doc Savage. The most famous one is probably the Shadow. I would say he's the most famous. A lot of these characters are still around in some sort of form, some kind of comic book. I think Dynamite owns a lot of them, or at least is publishing a lot of them. I don't know. They're probably all in the public domain, I think. But I always kind of like the Spider. I don't know why. I just thought he was neat. And they did a couple of serials with the Spider as well. And they did, Dynamite did a new series, which is a great comic book. I really liked it a lot. And so the Spider's a kind of a cool character that I always thought was really neat. And I used to get a lot of those reprints. Now, those are all in a comic box, and I'm going to do a video, probably a stream, talking about some of these Pulp heroes. And there's also the comic strip characters like Flash Gordon and the Phantom and Mandrake, all those Defenders of the Earth characters. They're kind of comic strip characters. Like the Phantom was the first kind of costumed kind of hero with the mask and the triangle, the white triangle-y eyes, the white eyes that Batman kind of has. So yeah, but I thought I'd take a look at the Spider, who is my favorite. And I've got a bunch of these reprints. Now, these are from Steeger Books. I have no affiliation with this company at all. I will put the link to their website in the description below, because I like the way that they're kind of doing these. They're sort of giving you it's like the original cover, and they're numbering them. So it's that's number 1 here. This is Operator 5. So there's your original cover. The covers of all these Pulp magazines are bloody amazing. They're just amazing. So it's and they're really nicely done. I'll show you here, I've got a random one here. Put these down. I got a whole bunch in my hand. So Captain Zero, here's so it's the text is pretty good. It's a good size. They're all about 200 pages. There is art in there as well. So most of these Pulps would have been a bit bigger. Think of it's, I don't know if it's exactly a comic book size, but something around there. These I think are 6x9, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, or this is standard format, but these are all reprints. They're done very nicely, and there's not really any bullshit in them. Now, the old Pulps would have had, ads and that kind of stuff. They're made with paper, which is a pulp style paper, which is why they call them that. They're real cheap. They're 5 cents, 10 cents, whatever they are. And you get a pretty good story. They're usually, this one's 200, this one's what, 200 pages? 207. They're not really longer than that. 200 is usually your standard, and that's in this size and printing. Normally they would print them sort of like newspapers, so it'd be a double column. Okay, so a few years ago, Sean and Steven and I actually came up with our own Pulp magazine called Into the Void, and it showcased 3 stories per issue. And we were selling those. I still have some of those copies, but since then I've actually taken my Pulp character, who is more in the Scavenger, and I've turned him into his own book. So his book is available on Amazon, and you can get that through the description below. I also have other stories as well. Strong Arm, who is my radio show character. So like the radio shows, the serials, the pulps, they're all kind of like connected. It all has that same feel. And so Strong Arm, I'm planning to make him I'm planning to do some stories with him as well, because people don't really listen to the radio shows that much anymore. I did a few episodes just for nostalgia, just because I thought it'd be kind of neat and I'd make it my own character. But let's talk about, we're going to talk about Spider number 1. All right. So we're going to talk about the Spider number 1. This is called The Spider Strikes. And there's your cover. There you go. That's good. No glare. Beautiful. It's interesting to note that the Spider doesn't really have a costume in this. Now, a lot of people know the Spider. There's 3 sort of versions of the Spider. There's just like a guy on the cover, and a lot of times on the cover he's depicted as a guy with like a kind of like a suit on, and he just has the domino mask. That's it. He's got a hat and all that, and he uses guns and everything. And his thing is that he leaves the mark of the spider on the forehead of his victims. See if I can find a picture of that spider. Oh, here we go. No, that's not it. You can look it up online, spiders. I don't think it's in here. It's not on here, but like you can see there's his ring. Now, actually, he doesn't wear a ring like that. He has a cigar case that he pulls a slip of paper up, and it kind of like tattoos. It's like a temporary tattoo. It kind of puts the mark on someone's forehead. So he's a vigilante. His name is Richard Wentworth. He has a servant named Ram Singh, who's an Indian guy, and they fight crime. That's it. So he's got a girlfriend as well. I can show you a picture of them. Hold on a second here. There are pictures in here. So there's Richard Wentworth, kind of what you would think. Now, in this first story, he has no costume. So getting back to the costumes, on the covers, they would depict him. There's Nita Van Sloan. That's his girlfriend. On the covers, they would depict him with just the domino mask. But in the stories, sometimes he would be described as he almost like has like a fright wig and like fangs, and he'd look really scary. But then in the serials, they gave him this costume, which was just like a mask, and it came out to like kind of a cape, and it had striped like spider, you know, Spider-Man, like with his costume, like how it's got the spider marks. That was kind of his costume with spider marks going down the cape or whatever. And in the recent Dynamite series, they actually made it like black and red. So you can Google all these images and you can see they're really cool. Basically, Spider-Man Noir, if you're aware of that character, I feel that that's like a heavy-duty ripoff of the Spider. I haven't read any of Spider-Man Noir, so maybe it's not a ripoff, but it certainly feels like it kind of is. Miles Morales kind of took the color scheme as well, if you're saying it's red, like black with red webbing. But I don't want to get into that too much right now. We're going to just talk about the book here. So this is The Spider Strikes, the first appearance of the Spider. And Steeger Books is doing these in order, I think. I'm not an expert on these pulp heroes. I only know whatever little I could gather by going to these shows. Now, there wasn't a show this year or last year or the year before, so I haven't gone in a while. I've been kind of just trying to find these where I can. There's some good reprints out there if you can't get originals, so you can check eBay and stuff like that. But Steeger Books is doing all these this way. So I'm just going to talk about this one here. I guess I could use I'm going to use the space way of reviewing. The space is what I use for my movies and comic books. So it's story, pacing, artistry, characters, enjoyment. Each of those categories gives you a score between 0 and 2. 0 is bad, 2 is amazing. So if everything gets a 1, it's a 5 out of 10, and 5 out of 10 means it's good, it's average. Now for art, I'm just going to talk about the covers, basically, and there's a little bit of art inside, which doesn't really matter. So for artistry, obviously it matters more in comic books because it's all drawn, but it is what it is, guys. I'm trying to work with what I got. All right. So for the story, I'm going to give the storyline a 1.5. So basically, the Spider here, he's after this criminal, of course, who's like killing people, he's strangling them, and he's just doing stuff. And the reason I didn't give it a 2 out of 2 is that, look, it's a standard pulp story. The Spider has to stop the bad guy. The reason I didn't give it 2 out of 2 is that I feel that I started to get a little bit, not confused, but the plot started to kind of get a little bit circular. It's just like, okay, well, what's going on here? Like, okay, they're getting him, but they miss him. Like, why is he disguising himself? A couple of things just didn't really pan out to anything. But otherwise, it's wicked. Like, I mean, it's like standard action stuff that you want out of this. When you pick this up, you're looking for a certain type of story, and you get it. This isn't long and drawn out like, you know, some like a not like a George Martin. It's not intricate plot. It's not intricate like people scheming. It's not a Stephen King book or anything like that. It's action packed. That brings us right to pacing. The pacing's getting a 2 out of 2. It is fast paced. There's not a lot of like wasted pages here. Every page is good. It just flips through. You could probably read this in one sitting. You could, I mean, I read it in like 2 sittings, 3 sittings, I think. I mean, even if you did 50 pages a sitting, that's going to take you to like 4 sittings. If this is 200 pages, 207. It's fast paced. Artistry, 2 out of 2, man. This cover's the best. I love these pulp covers. They're all going to get 2 out of 2. There's not a bad one in here. The art inside is fine. It's kind of passable. For characters, I'm going to give it a 1 out of 2. Ram, Nita, and Richard Wentworth, the Spider, are freaking awesome. They're awesome characters. So the good guys in this book are amazing. I love them. I mean, you know what? I'm going to give it 1.5 for characters, because you know what? There's a few side characters that were really good as well. Yeah, there's a couple of side characters that were good. I just feel the villain wasn't as good. So I'm knocking a 0.5 off for the villain. I don't think the villain was quite up to the standards of what I would have liked. It is the first going, so, you know, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so 1.5 for characters. Enjoyment, man, I'm giving it 2 out of 2. I love this book. It was great. So basically we're at a 9 out of 10. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. It's not quite perfect, but these stories do get better, and he will get the costume, and it'll get more adventurous, a little bit more creative. So I'm looking forward to continuing this on. But yeah, the Spider #1. Spider is the master of men. He makes men do what he wants. He's got a lot of great things. He doesn't have any special powers. He's not a superhero. Superman is still the original first superhero. But a lot of the vigilante stuff that you see is all taken from these books. Like, the Spider just kills people, like right there. Like, I don't want to spoil this book, even though it's from 1933 or something. I want to be, you know, it's 80 years old. I don't want to spoil it for you. No, but like, I mean, I don't want to tell you the whole thing. I would encourage you guys to check this out and read it. They're really cool. I'll tell you the little bit part in the beginning. There's this guy that got swindled out of $1,000. Now, this is 30s money, so $1,000 is a freaking lot of money. And Wentworth goes right up to the guy who swindled him. It's like, look, I want that money back right now. He doesn't give him a chance. I'm not going to spoil the whole thing. But it's like, the guy's being a dick. Spider shoots him. There, takes him the money out. He's like, okay, I'm going to give the money back to the guy you stole it from. You're like, okay. Smoked him right there. So the Spider doesn't have a lot of recurring villains, that's for damn sure. But what he does have is recurring action, and it's really cool. So I didn't give away anything. I don't want these to be super in-depth reviews, and this is a longer video because I'm introducing all this stuff. I'm going to keep these videos a lot shorter and just get right to the ratings. But 9 out of 10 for this book. I absolutely loved it. It's great. I highly recommend The Spider. Check them out. Check out the comics. This is the original stuff that you want to get. Different people wrote The Spider as you go along, and a lot of them there was just pen names, and some people wrote the same thing. So I'm not going to do the Wikipedia article on this. If you want to know more about The Spider, check on Wikipedia. Thepulp.net is a good website. I just want to get you guys into this stuff, and I just want to talk about how cool it is. That's it. Nothing else. This isn't going to be an information session. I don't want to bore you to death with facts. All you got to know is the Spider is an awesome character. This book is damn awesome. These are all available on SteegerBooks.com. They're pretty cheap, $14 each, American. They're definitely worth getting. Again, I'm not affiliated with Steeger Books. I'm not affiliated with any of these people. I'm just telling you that's where you can get all these. They're very easy. I'm sure they're on Amazon also. Actually, I checked. They're on Amazon. So you get them on Amazon if you want to get them on Amazon. But yeah, check out The Spider. And if you have checked out The Spider, let me know in the comments below what you thought of The Spider. All right, guys, until next time.